Happy Saturday night, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark with Chris JWS and SJ Sharkbite himself, Felix. Good evening to both of you. If you guys want to be part of the show, feel free to tweet us at Pucknology After Dark. That's the hashtag. Use it to ask questions or comment about the show. You could tweet any of us. Some of us might be awake, some of us might not be awake, or some of us might be partying, in the case with AJ and Gentry and maybe even Landy. Uh, but feel free to ask anything through Twitter, and we'll be happy to help you out. So, guys, nice bounce back win by the Sharks. 4-2 win over Carolina. Carolina goes to 2-6. The Sharks go to 5-3, regain for now sole possession of first in the Pacific. Chris, I'll start with you. Your thoughts tonight on a 5-2 win? I should say with a.
Yeah, so I thought it was a decent win. Some of the game they were getting a little hemmed in their zone way too often for my taste, but they needed this one badly. Like they even if whether they deserved to win or not, they had to win it, and they were able to get it done. Big props there to Joel Ward. He's had a very positive impact in the locker room. I mean, right now it's debatable who's been most impactful. Has it been Martin Jones, Paul Martin, or Joel Ward? They've all been phenomenal pickups. So give Doug Wilson some credit there. He had a hell of a free agent class this year, and he didn't have to shell out a ton of money for any of them.
No. I mean, what? Maybe $8-9 million. That's an impressive pickup for a nice depth forward, a great defenseman, which we'll talk about more later on in the show, and then getting a number one goaltender. Pretty solid. Felix, I'll turn to you. Good evening, good sir. Your thoughts tonight?
I thought tonight was pretty good and actually a really impressive game. Obviously, with Paul Martin in the lineup, I felt like that was obviously a real game changer, especially with Bernzi, like on at least on the defensive side, and obviously Joel Ward, huge game for him, hat trick, and congratulations to him for his first hat trick as the San Jose Shark. But I thought overall they played a great team game and well-deserved win.
Absolutely. I think it was a very solid team win. It did have its hiccups here and there. Carolina did, bounce back even down after 2-0. They got a goal, although the Sharks responded right away with it. And then they made it 4-2, and they were coming on pretty well through the end, especially late in the third period when they thought they still had a chance to get him. They were opening up the game, but it was also leading to defensive breakdowns for themselves, leading on to a couple of chances, Sharks wise. But let's talk about Joel Ward, one of those free agent pickups. A hat trick tonight, his second career hat trick. It's the fourth Shark to register a hat trick against the franchise formerly known as the Hartford Whalers / current Carolina Hurricanes. Definitely a great night for him, and good all-around guy on Reggae Saturdays, as they like to call in the locker room.
See, he was in the reggae, but Pavelski is the one who was jamming underneath the pads.
Good one.
Oh, dear God. Hang on. What the hell?
You gotta give me my rim shot there.
I'm trying to. Give me a sec. I wasn't prepared for that. There we go. We be jamming. Which kind of ironic that, as much as we talk about the whole Game 6 against LA and Stalock had a puck between his legs and was jammed at, kind of comes around the other way. But definitely, everybody seemed to be on the right page tonight, I thought. Tierney looked like he was having a good game with Wingles, starting to see some chemistry build up there. Even at one time, I think it was a tough shot, but Tierney almost tried to pull the hurdle move in the third period.
Yeah, I went back and watched that. At first, I thought I got a little too fancy, but I think it was just kind of the way the puck was bouncing. He had to resort to that to see if maybe he could get a shot in there. But yeah, no, he looked good. I normally roll my eyes a lot when they talk about how popular some guys in the locker room, because if he ain't, as far as I'm concerned, if he isn't getting anything done on the ice, I'm kind of whatever about that. But no, it seems like he's a positive influence off the ice, but he's been a huge influence on the ice too this year. I mean, the hat trick is one thing, but he's pretty much every game he's been there and he's been a presence. He's been important to this team.
Felix?
I thought wait, what are we talking about here again? Sorry.
Way to pay
Uh,
attention!
I believe
Go
we're
forward.
discussing Mike Brown right now.
No! No!
But I thought as for individual players, I thought Tierney did have a great game. Goodrow, I think you did mention that he was one with the nifty moves. That was pretty impressive. But yeah, I thought that those they both had pretty good games. So
Yeah, they definitely both had a great game. We'll talk about Paul Martin. He returns to the lineup, and there's something about Martin that changes the psyche of the defensive unit and the whole team. It seems like. I don't know if it's something he says during the game or whatnot, but Burns almost seems like he's a different defenseman when he's out there. Especially in one instance, he broke up a 4-on-1, which is kind of unreal.
Paul Martin brings balance to the force, if you will. But I think it's just that the defense makes way more sense when he's in. It's just been shown none of these other guys are good at working with Burns because Burns does Burns things, and we know that's just how it's going to be. He's going to do them no matter what. I don't think it's going to ever be coached out of him. So he's got to have a partner who's going to be able to know what chances he can take and when. Otherwise, and that's the 4-on-1 thing was ridiculous. I mean, maybe a little lucky, but also it was very well timed on his part. And I think Jamie Baker said it best. The guy had almost too many options, which might have been part of what caused him to freeze there. But yeah, Paul Martin, just the defense makes sense when he's in there. It has not made sense without him because, there's just no one to pair with Burns. Dylan's terrible with him. Braun struggles with him. Vlasic's the closest thing you have, but then you have no 3 through 6 spots. Those pairings don't make sense all of a sudden. So he brings a lot more balance to the thing, and also, I wasn't totally happy with our defense tonight because I thought, they were a little weak around the net and they let us get hemmed in our zone too much. But the breakdowns on the rush, there were a lot less than there had been the last 3 games, and that was the killer the last couple of games. Is they were just giving us so many chances on the rush every single time, just time after time. It would be these 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, and they just be able to tee it up and take their shots.
Felix, what do you think about the defense?
I do think that the defense has improved, especially with Paul Martin. I would say I wouldn't say he necessarily anchors it, but I mean, he provides that boost, if you will, especially like you mentioned, Bernsey. He seems to have that sort of almost that extra confidence in him when he plays defensively when Paul Martin's in the lineup, and obviously those two are paired together. They're really well. They play really well, and that the 4-on-1 rush by the Carolina Hurricanes that was stopped by Bernsey. That was a really good defensive play.
Very, very good defensive play. It could have been one of those tic-tac-toe fancy schmancy ones, and he gets it into the corner, which is something you're not used to from Burns. It's always been a rough go with him defensively at times. Who is the one that the Sharks? Well, let me rephrase this. The best free agent pickup out of the three, which one would you say? Well, I wouldn't say free agent because Jones was traded, but out of those three, Jones, Martin, and Ward, who is the best one so far?
Shoot, that's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really at this point it's hard to say. It's kind of a three-way tie for me right now. It may change as the season goes on. Um, uh, I'm trying to get my Martin straight here. Martin Jones to me has looked a little more mortal the last couple games, not just because of defensive breakdowns, but yeah, I mean that second goal I think he needed. He was a little off on that one, but he's looked a little more mortal. I think the most important probably of the three for me would be Paul Martin because the defense last season was a catastrophe. It's been a catastrophe without him this season, and if the defense, it doesn't matter who's goaltending, if the defense is constantly giving up odd man rushes and isn't able to do his job at all. So I think I'll go with Paul Martin on that one. It's really close though. All three have been huge.
I'm in agreement with that. Felix?
Well, if you had asked that about a few games ago, I would have said Martin Jones because he showed why the Sharks consider him as the number one starter for years to come. But yeah, I would have to agree with Paul Martin on defense. Simply because like the defense just kind of looks a little lost without him. So.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, all three of them have been huge benefits to the start that the Sharks been. Yeah, they lost three in a row coming into tonight, but they've definitely exhibited some confidence in this team, and it helps. I'm kind of looking at the goal right now with the second goal for Joe Ward, how he just had that time to wait, and then he shoots it in. Always taught, and usually for some sharks, they usually and then pass. Little little careful on the waiting for, but glad he shot it. Three goals tonight. So pissed I didn't start him on my fantasy team. Uh, Definitely not good, but Martin Jones with a solid win. 31 saves, I believe. Uh, yeah, he's not going to have a massive shutout streak, but he's still getting the job done.
Yeah, he was largely effective, and he definitely saved them a few times tonight when they needed it. And that was the big thing is he had a couple not so great plays, but he didn't have the killer plays, and he bailed them out a few times when they really needed it because they just I mean after two periods, the shot attempt differential was 21 to 41. Like they were just spending so much time in their own zone, and when that's happening, your goaltender has to bail you out a lot. So he was big in the win tonight as well. It wasn't a shutout, but it was exactly what they needed. They needed him to be effective.
And to add to that, I think and I'm sure this has been mentioned before, but I mean, if you compare him to Antoniemi last season, obviously when the whole team didn't really have a great season, they missed the playoffs. But I mean, Martin Jones obviously bigger frame, and he doesn't look very shaky at all compared to how Niemi kind of usually looked in that, and I think that's he doesn't really um he doesn't easily get shaken off at all off his game, so I think that's the critical part that kind of just helps save the Sharks bacon.
Yeah, I mean, there is that confidence factor, and for years the Sharks definitely have had mental breakdowns, especially in the playoffs, of course. But more so than anything, it seems like these guys are giving it confidence, which down the road, hopefully, that will be something to work on among the other players, and for that matter, help build the momentum as you head towards the postseason, which of course is the goal tonight. One thing that I think, and as I'm looking at the tweets here from Chester Chivo, a goal count: Anaheim Ducks 6, Joel Ward 5. And that just kind of goes around what we have seen tonight. The Ducks lost again to Minnesota 3-0. The Ducks are now 1-5-1. You're starting to get a little panicky in Anaheim now, as if I recall correctly, I thought I saw a tweet that Kessler, Perry, and Getzlaff have 0 goals, and this is where you need to keep those banking in those points down the road when Anaheim does get out of this, because trust us, there's no way Anaheim's going to fall apart like this the rest of the way. There's just no way. Looking at the Pacific Division, they're just 1 point ahead of Arizona and Vancouver, and LA is at 8.
I really wouldn't mind it if the Ducks really sucked this bad all season. That would be nice.
Oh, sure.
I'm just throwing that out there. So, other stats for the night. Joe Thornton was 37% on faceoffs. Another just not very good performance in the faceoff circle. I just looked it up for the season. He's 49%. I'm hoping he'll bounce back more, but I don't know if he's ever been under 50% for a whole season. So that's a trend we've been kind of tracking on here the last few games, is that he had like a 20% game a few games back. I don't remember which one it was. I think the early games he's doing all right, but what do you guys think about that? I know we discussed this before. I don't think either of you are here for it. But what are your thoughts?
That's actually quite a, I don't know, shocking, I guess, number. But I guess he's gonna have those off nights in the face-off circle. I'm sure he'll rebound somehow.
Yeah, that's definitely not a Joe Thornton-esque night, but you know, I can't see him just keeping that pace up. Yeah, 49% isn't good, and thankfully they have 3 days off to kind of get back to practice. I'm sure the coaching staff will go over it with him, and that just doesn't seem right for Joe Thornton. He's usually pretty good on the face-off circle. If not, he gets tossed out, and somebody else with a better face-off percentage will do a better job.
So I just looked it up right now for career. Hockey Reference only has it going back to 08, but career 52, 55, 53, 54, 56, 58, 56, 56, and now 49 this year. So that is very out of character for him. His worst year was 08, and that was 52.8. In the last almost decade. So it is very uncharacteristic of him. It doesn't sound like that much of a difference, but that's over the course of a year. If you take a couple hundred face-offs, that's a couple of key face-offs right there, difference. And yeah, so that's very, very un-Joe-like. There's a couple things we always counted him to be good in the face-off circle and not shooting.
Yeah, it's very un-Joe-like, and so it's whatever. I think he just needs to just keep practicing, get on it, and go from there. Continuing on with our tweets, Chester Chivo again. give Wilson credit. This isn't the Pucknology After Dark I'm used to. Okay, let's be real
Hey,
here.
hey, 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 I'm fair, okay?
Yeah,
I
we're
will
we're
rip people when they deserve it, and I will give them credit when they deserve it.
absolutely. We will rip him to death about keeping Roy Sommer or drafting Nick Petrecki or not drafting a decent defenseman. But we'll definitely give him his due. I think he deserves that.
I was just saying this to AJ the other night, like, no matter how much I hate a player, I will not rip him for doing the right thing. Okay, occasionally I might, but generally, if they do the right thing, I won't rip them for it, no matter how much I hate them, because that way no one can accuse me of being unfair when I rip them correctly. Because if I'm always ripping them no matter what, yeah, it's hard to take that seriously. So, just saying, I will give Wilson his credit when he deserves it, and I will rip him to shreds when he deserves it. And lately, he's been deserving more of the bad than the good, but credit where it's due. Two really good free agent pickups, and that Martin Jones trade is looking pretty good so far. I mean, that one, I'm still in kind of wait and see before I declare that a huge success because small sample sizes, but so far, so good.
Felix?
I mean, I will say like of course, the off-season acquisitions. I mean, so far I agree they have been pretty good. And you know, like you guys have said, obviously I will also give credit where it's due, and obviously Doug Wilson does deserve all the the hate that he deserves for the really bad off-season acquisitions and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, overall, it seems to be helping out.
Yeah, definitely. Um, but we'll see down the road how this all plays out. Again, we're just 1/10 into the season, so it's still early. Plenty of hockey to go. As AJ would say, small sample size.
Plenty
Actually,
of
wait a
things to
minute.
get angry. There will be no lack of things for us to get angry about this season.
Let's talk to the angry AJ tree. Angry AJ tree. Your thoughts tonight? I don't think they played that well. They should have won better. I need to
Dylan
do
sucks.
double sucks. All right, thank you, angry AJ tree. All right.
The angry AJ tree may have to make an appearance on another show.
This is the second one. And no, Gen X, it is not for sale on the Pucknology QVC channel, nor are free tweet buttons. So looking at the standings right now, the Sharks are in first place with 10 points. They're 5-3-0. But like I said, Arizona and Vancouver, two teams who weren't supposed to be here, like the Sharks, are neck and neck at 9 points with LA at 8 points. Um, Edmonton looks like it's starting to find its way, is at 6. Calgary having a tough time at 4, and Anaheim 3. Now again, it's still early, but you better get going before it gets too late. Let's be real here on that. Uh, well, let's also pimp out while we have you all. The NHL ties game worn tie auction. Proceeds will go to Hockey Fights Cancer. We mentioned this, of course, tonight because it was Hockey Fights Cancer night at the Shark Tank. These are actual ties worn in game day by some of your favorite NHL broadcasters. All the Sharks are in it, including some guy named Remenda. Uh, Definitely follow at NHL Ties for details. I believe it is on auctions.nhl.com. Just head over there. Don't bid too much on a Brody Brazil tie because that's the one I want. Because I know AJ's going to take all of Drew's.
Just curious, are we always going to refer to Remenda as that Remenda guy or some variation of that.
Well, basically, I kind of balance out AJ saying, "Hey, what's Drew?"
Speaking of Drew, bring back Drew.
There
No,
you
I
go.
mean the angry AJ tree should have said that as well.
What about Drew? All right. Kind of a little short one tonight, just because, well, AJ's not here, so he doesn't get us all riled up. And, well, me and Chris have to be at work at 5 a.m., and it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
Adulting is hard.
Exactly.
And I should be asleep soon too, so.
Okay. What, do you have to go to work at 5 a.m. too, Felix? I'm sorry
No,
if I
but
left you out.
no, but like I actually have to study for midterms and stuff.
Okay, see, that's a legitimate excuse, right? Totally, I could definitely get that. By the way, to
Playing the
the
world's smallest violin for you there.
yeah. By the way, to the Caps fan who wanted to say through a tweet of a Sharks cancer survivor of 20 years that the Sharks are a cancer. You can go to hell. I'm not going to mention their Twitter handle because he doesn't deserve, or he or she doesn't deserve the kudos or anything. And those who have talked smack back, that's not cool. With that, we will wrap it up. Chris, your final thoughts for tonight?
Final thoughts. It's a step in the right direction. Still need some work. So there's some good and some bad in it, but they needed this one to kind of get. I mean, they need to get their confidence back, because if you let it slide 4 games in a row after starting 4-0, I mean, all that confidence you built up there and more is gone. So it was good to see that. It was good to see Paul Martin kind of restore some order in the defense. Looking for a strong effort against Nashville, because Nashville has 13 points right now. They're leading up their division. That'll be kind of a good measuring stick to see where the Sharks really are. They have 4 days rest, no excuses. They should at the very least stop Paul Martin. I know Couture still won't be there, but it would be a good way to see just where they stand right now. So, yep, that's all I got.
All right, Felix, your final thoughts.
I thought that they played a really good game tonight. Great team play. Obviously, Paul Martin, as we mentioned before, he was obviously, a huge confidence booster in the lineup, and it showed on the defensive side. And of course, with defense comes offense, and they played the heck of it on a great offensive game, especially Joe Ward. And just an overall great game. Yeah, just maybe clean up some of the turnovers still and kind of stay out of the penalty box. But other than that, and they played great tonight. Yes, the game against Nashville will be a test to see how where they truly stand for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's coming up next week, and actually the next game. The Sharks will get a few days off. They'll get Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to practice and rest before they play on Wednesday night rivalry. That classic rivalry between the San Jose Sharks and the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, no, remember those games against them when there were goals and stuff, or something happened of
Right?
note?
Right?
I'm drawing a blank here. Those big games with
Now wait a minute.
Becca Rene.
Wait a minute. We got to talk about that though. Jay Leach actually scored his first NHL goal against the Nashville Predators. Yes, that Jay Leach, the one that's married to Catherine Tappan of NHL Network fame. And yes, it might have been an empty net, but that's beside the point. Actually, one more thing as we wrap this up. Tonight's attendance was 15,814. It was the smallest since the 05-06 lockout, or the March of 2006. Thoughts?
Wow.
Is this a concern? Apparently, according to Jones and Chill on Twitter. Apparently, there were tickets still at $40 on Ticketmaster before the game, and I'm sure StubHub had a little bit cheaper too. Um, could this be a concern? Could it be jumping in on the Sharks
No, 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 no.
bread
If
and
you saw
butter?
if you saw attendance at the Barracuda game the other night, no. I don't know. I think maybe it's partly early season, partly the Sharks' really bad skid of late, and also it's not really a sexy opponent. I mean, when I was season ticket holder for a while there, I mean, the slowest nights were always Monday nights and whenever teams like the Hurricanes came to town, because no one gave a fuck. Sorry, no one cares about the Hurricanes. So I hope that's mostly what it is, but it is a little. I mean, yeah, it is a little worrisome, but I think against Nashville we'll see much higher attendance.
Yeah, the Kings game had a 16,787, if I recall correctly. I don't think we need to be too concerned about it, but unfortunately, when you don't make the playoffs, coupled with the Niners have their stadium, and starting Tuesday,
Oh, who wants to go there, please? I mean,
well, I'm putting it this way: a lot of people jumped off the ship in 2014 from the Sharks and went to, oh my God, there's a new stadium in Santa Clara.
yeah,
And,
the Niners are their own special train wreck. That's what I was saying the other day. As bad as things were looking for the Sharks for a couple games here, at least they're not the Niners. That is a dumpster fire.
yeah, that looks really bad. And of course, the Warriors start up this week, so that might take a big chunk out of
Yeah, they
the
aren't very
Sharks
good.
too.
Like I heard they win occasionally.
Yeah, they win occasionally in the playoffs, which is, something the Sharks haven't done in quite some time, unfortunately. So yeah, I wanted to touch on the attendance with that. I don't think it's too horrific just yet, but something we'll definitely keep an eye on down the road. With that, we will chat with you Wednesday night following the Sharks and Predators game. That is a nationally televised game on NBCSN, which, since post game live is off the air. Psst, hey Brody! Hey Brody! You want to come back on? Come on. We'll let you whip in Nene too if you want to. If you haven't been on Brody's Facebook page, look up his videos. Thank me later. With that, for the entire staff of Pucknology.net and Pucknology After Dark, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you visit Pucknology.net. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, wherever you find us. And we will talk to you for Wednesday. So until then, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good night.